Alrighty, there's Bert. Alright, let's take a look at this thing. Alright, made quite a few modifications to it. First of all, the most obvious would be the dump. It had a dump on it before, but it was just a little rusted out box. So I put a little assist on this, and you can flip it while you're sitting in the seat, or you can get out and do it, which works pretty good. Other things, I put an hour meter on this thing. If you can see it, it's 30.4 hours. Haven't had any trouble. The only complaint is it's very cold starting. It needs a choke. Unless you can put like baked cookies on the exhaust, you need the choke to start it. And I never adjusted it because it's not that big of a deal. Alright, well, the seat is pretty obvious. It was an upgrade over what came with it. And the 9-ball is pretty cool because it's nice on your hand while you're going down and pushing on it all day long. Anyway, it's just more comfortable. So I rearranged the controls on this. So this is like a master. Turns on the fuel pump. You can turn the fuel pump off there. That's the fuel pump. Okay. Lights. Kind of useless, but anyway. PTO. Start. And that's pretty much it other than the master. In case you really run into something bad, pretty much it kills everything. It just opens the circuit. Alright. So there it is. Fits in there pretty good. Like I said, I put an electric fuel pump on it. I had that on there from the days of when the Kohler was on here. And the Kohler was horrible at self-priming after you let it sit for a while. Plus it was a single. Anyway, so some of the other modifications. You can't put big belts on this, so that's about the biggest belt I can get on here. So this thing would flap up and down, and the belts would rub against each other and wear one thinner than the other, so then it would go into the pulley deeper. And now I got two different lengths, and it's a mess. So the turnbuckle works pretty good. I know it's low to the ground. It doesn't hurt nothing. It's as low as the deck, if you know what I mean. So that ain't hurting anything. I also installed one for the drive on this side. This from the naturally this is spinning. Hit the clutch, turns this gizmo, drives the shaft down the bottom, which I don't even know if I can see it. There's the shaft it goes. And turns the deck, and it's a 54-inch deck, so it takes quite a bit of torque. So that's why I got these belts nice and tight, and I always engage them at idle. So as my dog rolls around in the grass, old Bert. So let's see, mounted the battery back here. It was up here. It's horrible to get to. Super tiny, super tiny. And I added a fuel filter with the stock fuel filter, and I put a shut-off on it. Alright, what would I change? A lot of things that I did. Alright, this brace that's going from here straight back, part of the frame, can't get that pulley off without moving the motor over. Had I stepped it up and over and then down, you could get that off without having to, well, you don't do that much removing the pulley, but I did have to weld this little scraper gizmo in there to keep it spins around and around naturally, and it keeps the grass off of that cover. Otherwise it would just clog up, which it did when I first put it together. So what else did I do from here? Not much. Alright, on the other side, this muffler setup is symmetrical. So you can unbolt it and flip it upside down, and you could put the exhaust in the back. But the problem with that is it would hit here. So So this one I would have lowered, and it would have worked just as good. Or you could have made it go up and over. It doesn't really matter, you know. So all this is steel that I had laying around, and the stuff for the dump and all. I just had pieces, you know. Used a piece of rebar for and that's pretty much it. I still left this tensioner stuff. I really don't have any problems with the drives. They work really good. Alright, so, and originally I had cut this off and then welded it back. So, that's about that. This comes down. Alright, one last thing. In the wintertime, or fall, we have tons and tons and tons of leaves back here. And they blow everywhere, up the yard, in the garage, making a mess. So, I drill and tap 3 places on here. This is just a piece of aluminum I had laying around, so that just bolts up to that and blocks that off and makes it basically a mulching deck. And it just pulverizes everything. Let's see. Well, I would like to say that that motor is really a nice motor. You don't have to do much work to it. Change the oil in it once a year for me. Filter, clean the air filter. It doesn't bog down no matter how thick the grass is. I was cutting grass, it was this tall, and about as tall as these. So that's about 12 inches to the bottom, to the top of that. And I was cutting it and blowing it into the other tall grass. And then I cut it again and did that and did that. And it doesn't bog down. And if it can't cut the grass, it'll just swirl it around. It won't even, but the motor just doesn't change RPM. Not perceivably anyway. But overall, it's really a good machine. And, you know, comes with an oil cooler, which is a really nice feature. So, that's basically all I got. Alright, man. Look at him. Bert, you think you need some more grass on you? Alright, till the next time.